100% here, though. They're just sitting. They're parked. They have all kinds of angles. Clicks is obviously in the scariest spot, though, down in the low. But hold up here. This is a late rotate coming out of AV and Shark. Ooh. So they're lit up. What happened?
They've got a trio wipes. They've got 3 eliminations on the board. I have to think they maybe started a fight that looked like it was going to be a quick finish and it just dragged out. So that could have been it. Or maybe one of them could have got downed and they had to go for a reboot, because something has definitely gone astray here, and this was not their usual strategy.
Yeah, I'm going to need to find out of whether or not Bucky, Creo, and Kanata are alive, because this is their drop spot, their home, and it's right in the center. Yeah, and it's not very common of the exit to cut through this area. I mean, normally this is empty by the time they get through here, so could have just been a different way. It all kind of crumbled out this time around. Either way, exit now. He's going to have to get up out of here and get a rotate going ASAP to beat the storm line. Med kits and heals are going off right now as they're trying to situate here, but they do have a vehicle as well, I believe, to work with.
Yeah, Day, Miro in reverse. Obviously one of those teams as well. We don't see a lot of orgs that have an entire trio team. So really repping Team New Age here, trying to put on a good performance. And what a great game last game. We've been asking who's going to have the aggression to go for that high ground. It looks like it's Miro as they're aggressively pushing back. This was Bucky, Creo, Kanata that kind of pushed in through some Fireflies, burnt out their builds, and Miro not too happy about it. He's firing back as they're right on edge zone. And I'm seeing the amount of teams that are here, and it looks like Bucky, Creo, Kanata are not only pinched between 2 full trios, they also have Chap, Who Fishy, and Coop up on the outside, as well as Miro gets an elimination there. He gets a knock anyway, trying to push in to close this out, and this is not going the way Bucky, Creo, and Kanata wanted.
This is the second time now we've seen a Qualix jump in early during a storm surge situation, so clearly they've been struggling, and because of it, it's going to be the downfall for Bucky here as Bucky gets thirsted now and taken out of the game. But it's all it takes sometimes is one team to have an issue with the surge, and all of a sudden you're in the weirdest pinch. Kanata by himself has to flex, has to fend, and I'm not sure it's looking too good for him. Even with his shockwaves there, I think it's it's about to be all over. Another team jumps in. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment are now firing inwards.
I want to see where Booger, Jamper, and Avery might be. Maybe they were one of the teams that went down on spawn that we didn't see because they were contested, and we just had a panning shot of the whole edge line of that mountain, and they weren't there. And I have to imagine they wouldn't have rotated off it given the chance. You have teams like Clicks, Bizzle, and Illis coming out of Sweaty who chose to get on top of Stark, but then again, maybe they need a tag, so I'm not going to call it too early, but that's a team that I'm a little bit scared that I haven't seen so far, as they are my pick to win, and Kanata still holding things down as a solo. He has the bounce pad, he has the crash pad, so if he can maybe do a bounce pad, crash pad from here, no eyes on him, he might make the next zone, but he has to be careful of how often he shows himself, because people see you as a solo. He gets knocked out, he pops 2 of his crash pads, saves the 3rd one, but this trio knows that he's solo. I said you have to be careful when you're spotted by yourself, because teams like that, and that is Unknown Army's team. Unknown Army, who's obviously good friends with Kanata, gets to take him out there, and unfortunately he had a good effort, but he falls here just before placement points. We're going to start going out pretty heavily.
Yeah, and I mean, why it may have been a good idea at first, great snipe from C's, probably not going to convert onto anything, but it's just enough, you know, alleviation of the pressure from the mountain, just enough to get them to go ahead and rotate in, as now they have to base up over everyone else. But like we said, they just didn't have to sit there for as long as they did. Great play, but they sat there for a little too long. On high ground, though, where you'd expect them to be is Booga, Jamper, and Avery. This is their territory. This is their drop spot.
This has to be their game too. We've talked about it. We've said it's up and down. We don't want to say that their performance hasn't been great. It's just that from a team that has so much potential with such a good drop spot and now a zone on top of them, you have to think if any game is going to be theirs to win, it has to be this game. We're going to see 3 Titans try to contest Saf, Zayt, and Stretches. They're now shockwaving. They're bouncing shockwaving to opposite height. They've said it. They've said, we're sick of playing this low ground and mid ground business. Why aren't we on high ground? And here it is. They take it on such a dominant spot. And this zone, same as when we saw Zayt, Saf, and Stretch on high ground in game 2, it's going to be so hard to take off them if it goes off that mountain as well. It's where you want to be. Doesn't matter where zone goes. If you're above everyone, you can react. If you're below everyone, it is such a hard scramble uphill against opponents.
This is definitely crazy, though, because Sav took out Posick and Accept now as the follow-up elimination here, giving them the impact they need, but more importantly, they have to get out to the zone, and the fights continue to rage on. Zayt's gonna get traded out by Sizz Lucky. The follow-up here from Saf now. Can they save Zayt somehow? Can they carry him and maybe base forwards, or will they have to leave him? There's definitely shockwaves there. No, they're not gonna leave him behind. They're gonna base him in at least just a little longer to go on and get the pickup. That is ridiculous. That's actually such a clutch save here. They
No,
threw him
a
out.
crash
Look.
pad comes out. Saf and Zay get shot out. I don't know why. I don't know if they threw the crash pad. Maybe a misclick from Saf, or it was an
It's gonna
opponent.
work.
I have to think it was a misclick, but it's working here. Maybe it was deliberate. I don't know. Maybe it was so big brain I can't even comprehend it. But Stretch has
Stretch is
fallen
down.
for the trade. So we have Saf and Zay back up, but Stretch has fallen, which means high ground is open, and it was Jamper that took down Stretch. That is massive because Jamper now knows that the most dominant team on high ground is missing a player. They will be so much more confident and invest so much more to hold high ground now, knowing that one of the biggest threats is completely taken out, or maybe not taken out, just wounded. I don't want to count Saf and Zayt out. This is a legendary duo, one of the most legendary duos, and they might be able to cause an upset.
Yeah, definitely the most decorated here on the Fortnite scene, still doing it to date, and that is insane. But on high ground, I mean, they're in 7th place, like we said, for a reason. Still holding that top 10. It's still Booga, Jamper, and Avery's show to run with here and do as they please. They can continue to make the story unfold here, as now it's going off this mountain, so you know they're going to be the ones rotating nice and late. They have the crash pads as well to land on top of any single base if they so choose, and the options are theirs, right? They can take this all the way if they want. They can continue to go in late. It's just literally options now in game sense that's going to have to come in. Avery finding some big shots here on high ground, just showing you how dominant they are right now. And yes, look, Booga went first, so the control. Now they're stepping out. Now they're branching out. They're taking control of this entire high ground.
And they need to show that they can do it. They need to prove to the community, to people like us, to show that they have the dominance, they have high ground. Zayt's team has been wounded. You have the loadout, you had the drop, you had everything here. I need Booga to show that they can win this game because they have the potential. They're a top tier phenomenal team. I picked them to win today, so I need them to prove it here as well. They're taking shots down, but it's going to be about whether they get the eliminations too. That is what Saf, Zayt, and Stretch have been doing so well. They're getting the eliminations from the high ground as Tahi getting the eliminations in the mid ground. A beautiful snipe that you don't see often in the end game. Taken down smacked as Edgy falls in the feed as well, so he's happy to make that scramble uphill battle that I talked about earlier. He has no mobility, he has no shockwaves, and he just has to go through these tunnels as he takes down Cease. He gets the refresh. Does he have mobility? He needs it to get through this, and I think this might be it. But 3 eliminations could be enough to secure some good points as Gabe and Tahi are still alive.
Definitely. I saw Kalk fall there as well, so it seems like there's not a full team left alive other than the high ground hold here from Booga, Avery, and Jamper, and that's pretty much the name of the game now, as it went up and over so many old builds and the mountain face as well. It just cut across such dangerous terrain here. Cease, you can see the feed catching up, Niddles down, Lord's down, and high ground's getting a bit contested, but not enough for Booga to give it up here. The pressure coming in, just endless pressure. They have enough ammunition to do it as well.
It's going to have to be a big pick on the Booga. Someone's going to have to shockwave up, get a 1 pump. He's going to have to get knocked out of zone. 4 shockwaves is so hard to overtake. As zone comes back up, they're on top of the best position they can be. This zone has been so difficult for everyone on low ground. It has to go up, down, back up, and over, where Booga, Avery, and Jambo have saved everything, just walking on top of it all. Has the shockwaves still, so this might come down to an upset at the end, though. We saw this last game. There could be full trios down there, like Voil, TJ, and Rokane, who have something in their back pocket. Chap trying to solo clutch this one. Avery focusing him, unfortunately, on the receiving end of his old team's fire, as Zayt picks up Zexro, though, so they're still in this monster.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Countdown, but Zexer was the lone wolf there trying to do what he can. As you can see, it's just a continued frag fest here. Avery now trying to follow up. They have 2 eliminations. High ground gets contested, and they actually lose it. Crash pad on up from Avery, though, is going to follow in. Bye-bye, Oliver. The big shots as he concludes in. The Siphon as well. Those are much-needed materials. And now it's a Stormline fight. Another Shockwave is going to come out, and the exchange. Booga's down here. All of a sudden, they lose height, and they have to conclude to dropping down here. It's a two-man show.
And they're showing that it's not as easy as it looks. Zayt's team has made high ground look so easy. We had a team contested. He has the splashes, though, but Rokane and TJ are just as healthy. TJ gets the finish there. I believe it was Avery, but TJ is just beneath it. It's a 2v2v1, and they need to do something big here. Pulse doing such a good job to stay healthy and just rotate through this whole end game. As you do see it, we have 3 teams alive, 5 players. Jamper has the medkits, have the splashes. We saw Reese talk about it earlier, just combining all those white heals onto one teammate so they can go for the heal off, but TJ TJ has the bandage cannon in the back pocket. He might be able to pull something off here as they have so many eliminations on the board. 9 as a team from this mid ground. They're going to go for it. I see the shockwave in hand. Someone's about to go up. TJ, no, it's Rokane. Rokane goes up, but Jamper is just too high, and I don't think Rokane can do anything about it. This is just going to be an old-fashioned heal-off. Jamper is so high. It's looking like a sky-based situation. Avery takes down TJ. Rokane takes down Avery. It's a 1v1. I believe there's a few players down there. It is. We have Avery. Fall. It's Rokane and Jamper, but you have to think...
Rokane's in the lead.
The medkit. Rokane could win this, but Jamper has splashes though. Rokane doing something, trying to find it, but Jamper's scrambling. Jamper's scared. He now knows that he has heals as well, but Rokane, I think he hits the dance. He knows that he just didn't have it. Look at Jamper's health. One more tick. They were so close to the upset. I asked for them to do it, and they did just that.
They have, and they started off with at 100 before finally got more points on the board as well. You were talking about Kings left and right. Maybe Bugha, Avery, and Jamper could be one of them. Yeah, some more consistency here just overall on the leaderboard itself, on the breakdown. From 6th to 10th, you can see the difference of eliminations